Hey guys, today we are reviewing this beast of a machine. So you want to stick around to see what this thing can do. Hey guys, welcome to the video. Today we are reviewing this beast of a scooter. This is an off-road scooter by IsinWheel. It's the GT2, and they sent this to me for free to review and share my thoughts with you guys. So when they first offered this to me, I saw the photos of it and I kind of was like a lot of products, to be honest. I feel like I say this quite often. I looked at it and I was like, it looks kind of gimmicky. I thought it was going to be smaller in the photos, but when you actually get this thing, people's reaction when they see it is like, what the hell is that? When some of my family saw it, they were quite shocked by how big it is. I mean, most of the time you see scooters. Don't get me wrong, I've seen people riding big scooters like this before, but you don't quite see them as often. I see maybe the slightly smaller ones more often. This is more off-road focused. So it's got the big tires, the front and rear suspension. So it definitely is very beastly looking. And I've already done some off-road testing with this, and it does feel quite enjoyable to ride off-road, and it makes the product feel more versatile because you can take it into more spaces. So as always, if you guys want to support me in this video and you also want to purchase this product, you can use my link down below to do that. And I'm going to be sharing all my thoughts with you on this product and how it performs. And let's jump in to the rest of the video.
De-restricted, this scooter has a max speed of 28 miles per hour, but I haven't found a way to do that yet. It comes with a 48 volt 15 amp hour battery, has a maximum range of 37 miles, it's got 11-inch fat tires, has front and rear suspension, and hydraulic disc brakes.
Let me demonstrate folding this up because it's going to make carrying it much more easier. I will put the weight up on screen. I can't remember what it is off the top of my head, but it has quite a robust folding mechanism. You've got these two metal screw threads on the side, which you just undo. And I'm not going to make the same mistake I made before. I'm going to turn it off because I folded this before, and as I was folding it, I pressed the accelerator while it was turned on, and it almost ended very badly. So I'm not going to make that mistake twice. So we undo these side handles. Once they get to a certain point, they kind of stop, and they have like a spring. You pull them, and then they fold down. And I was wondering what this hook was on the back for a while. And when I found out what it was for, I felt rather stupid because it's really obvious. So we undo the screw on the front. This lets us fold down the handlebars. And there's a little hook right here. This is what this back piece is for. So you hook the handlebars through there. And let's lock the quick release. And that lets us pick it up. So you'll see, I can pick up with one hand. I mean, this has got to be at least 30 kilos. We'll see how accurate I am once I put the weight up on screen. So you can carry this, but I wouldn't want to carry this a long distance at all. It's really heavy. If you need to like lift this into a car or something, it's definitely doable by yourself. If you're a smaller person or have any disabilities, you're probably going to really struggle to lift this up. But if you're relatively strong and healthy, it's not really bad lifting this into a car. So it does make it a little bit easier to transport around, and it doesn't really take too long to fold down either.
Alright, you're going to have to forgive me for the possible shaky camera here, but I'm going to attempt to show you all the controls on the handlebar and along with the screen as well. And it's hard to get this all in one shot on my tripod. But we've got our throttle here on the right hand side, our right brake, our left brake, we've got our horn button, this is our lights, we turn our lights on and off. It also includes this cool piece in the middle. There is a front and a rear light, I'll show you that in a separate part of the video. And then we've got our up and down button here, this goes between our power levels, and then our power button to turn the bike on and off. And then you've got a mode button here, which if you hold it down, you can go into settings screen to change the miles per hour to kilometers an hour, for example. And then we've even got indicators, and I like that you get a audible beep when this is on, which is good for safety. So if you forget you've left this on, you could confuse someone that's behind you that thinks you're going to turn but you're not. Screen is nice and bright. As I mentioned, or I will mention in some part of the video, I wish it was a bit brighter in direct sunlight, but it is visible, and it's a nice large screen, so it's quite easy to read the text. If we press tap our power button, we can change what we're seeing here. So we've got average and max speed, and then we've got our odometer and trip. So there's a few things you can play around with, not a ton. And I do mention in the video at some point that I couldn't get the app to work, so I'm not sure if this actually has app support, which is a bit of a shame. But the overall feel of the screen and the controls is real nice. This throttle, it's quite easy to gradually put the power in and then less. There's also cruise control, so once you've held this down for a certain period of time, you can let go, and the throttle will basically just be held down in the cruise control. Now you can turn this off, and while you're in cruise control, you can turn it off at any point by either just tapping the throttle, using the brake, or pretty much doing anything. If you press any of these buttons, the cruise control will turn off. Even though this scooter has fat tyres and front and rear suspension, I was expecting it to feel more uncomfortable than it was riding it down this rocky path. Now, I've used this path many times to test the suspension on e-bikes, and while it doesn't look that extreme in the video, there are quite a few big craters and potholes that you can go through, so it does put a decent amount of work on the suspension. And even compared to some e-bikes that had front and rear suspension and seat suspension, this actually didn't feel that bad to ride in comparison. It was actually reasonably comfortable to ride down this dirt path, and really all the situations I put it through. Now, of course, this isn't going to be suitable for extreme off-roading, you know, going down like bike tracks and that kind of thing, but I don't think anyone would be using this in that situation anyway. But in the scenarios I put it in here, I was quite impressed by how well it handled, and even though I was limited to 15 miles per hour for the restriction, I couldn't really see myself going a lot faster than that, or wanting to, on these sort of paths anyway. If you're not going to be doing much off-roading on this scooter anyway, it still carries over nicely to surfaces that are smoother, like this gravel path here, or even if you're riding in the road. What it does mean is your overall smoothness when you're riding feels higher than if you were to just be on a typical hard wheel scooter, because those fat tires and front and rear suspension just add to the ride comfort, and I didn't find them too soft that it felt like I was bouncing around all over the place. They felt like they were at a decent level, so when I was riding on smoother paths like this, they made the riding experience feel nice, and the scooter didn't feel too wobbly. However, I would consider myself a bit of a scooter noob, as I don't really ride scooters very often at all. I've only ridden one other scooter on this channel, and a couple of times in my childhood, so for me, I would take my opinion as someone who is newer to scooters, and definitely get a second opinion if you're thinking of picking this up. There's even a version of this scooter which comes with a seat, and you can also attach it on after the fact if you want to. But for me, I liked riding it standing up, probably because it's a nice change to riding an e-bike, and it did feel a little bit more exciting, especially using this off-road, as I do think there's an element of danger that I like, because you do have a bit more of an increased chance of falling off, rather than if you're sitting down on an e-bike. So you do need to bear that in mind, and of course ride cautiously. And at the same time, you should also be aware of the limitations for this scooter, as when I did test it in some really bumpy long grass, it did struggle and almost come to a complete stop at a handful of points. So while this is going to be good in most light to maybe moderate off-road situations, it's not going to handle anything you throw at it, as it of course only has 11-inch tires. So if you find yourself in quite a big hole in the ground, you're going to get stuck pretty easily, so just bear that in mind. The hydraulic disc brakes also feel robust enough for this scooter and do make me feel quite safe riding it, as you can stop relatively quickly. I think my main takeaway from riding this electric scooter is similar to some e-bikes I've tested. I don't think it's going to be for everyone, as it's quite an extreme product and it also is very fun to ride, but I'm not really sure how practical it would be for most people, as maybe they'll want something a little bit lighter to carry around and transport. But on the plus side, because this is quite a hefty product and has beefy suspension and power, it's a lot more versatile, so you can use it in more situations and on more surfaces and still have an enjoyable, fun experience. But I guess I would say the main reason to get this scooter is if you want something that's really fun and is able to handle more situations that you can throw at it.
All right, so I'm going to run you through some of the things I liked about this and some of the small changes I would make. So the obvious plus sides are its off-road performance. It does generally feel great through the off-roading I did. Obviously, if you're going to do more extreme off-roading, this might not be suitable, but I think for riding through like a lot of parks, gravel paths, some medium length grass with bumps, it performs relatively well. If you go over like really long grass, it does get a bit bogged down. So it's not just going to power through anything, but for quite a few situations, I think this is going to be a lot of fun for people to use. So some of the small downsides are, this might be a little bit too critical, but the screen is really nice and big. I just wish it was a little bit brighter. I do have that issue with quite a few screens on like e-bikes and stuff. There's just sometimes certain angles and certain sunlight where you can't really see the screen super clearly. So that would be a small thing. I also can't find a way to get the app to work, because it looked on the website like this has app support. If it does, that's great, but it seems like it doesn't, because I did a little bit of reading online and it seems like this doesn't have app support. So for a product this expensive, it's a bit of a shame it doesn't have app support. Now, it's not a deal breaker, and I know some people aren't going to care at all that it doesn't have app support, but for me, if I was to spend as much as this product costs, really I want that extra feature, because it just lets you tinker with stuff a little bit easier using your phone. Other than that, I didn't really have any major gripes with this. It feels really robust. It feels high quality. I like the fact that it has indicators and lights, even though the indicators aren't orange. It's still nice to have, and you got some nice feedback with the way they work too. I feel like if you know what you're getting yourself in for with this product, for what it's advertised for, I feel like the main selling point is the off-roading, and I feel like it performs well there. So if that's your main reason to pick up this product, because of its power and its off-road capability, I feel like you won't be disappointed. But as always, check out some more reviews before you decide to purchase this product. But if you would like to support me for this review, you can use my link down below. That would be much appreciated. I really hope you enjoyed the video, guys. If you did, please leave a thumbs up. And of course, I will see you in the next one.